Hello, and welcome to Alchemy Mindset. I'm your host, Anna Hasty, business mindset coach for women and a sound healer. If you are ready to become the most aligned, magnetic, and confident businesswoman you are worthy and deserving of being, then this show is for you. This is where I share everything from mindset, energy, and spirituality, and how to embody your future self in business and life. Sprinkle that with deeply relaxing sound healings and meditations, and you have the Alchemy Mindset podcast. Hit subscribe so you always get the latest episode. Now let's begin. Hello, dear listener. Welcome back to this episode of the Alchemy Mindset podcast. I want to start by saying when it comes to coaching my clients, embodiment is one of the pillars of the Alchemy Mindset transformation method that I just love to focus on. Embodiment is all about how we see ourselves in our business and our lives, and the way that that ideal that we have impacts how we show up, how we feel, and how we act within the work that we do. And it's so much to say you want to be or have something once you've reached a certain level or a place or aspect within your business, but it's also another thing to actually act on it and to actually look at where you can start embodying those parts of you right now rather than waiting until that day or that time. Now, one thing that drew me to having Leah Selfe, the productivity queen, on the show is how she is fully embracing, showing up, embodying what she truly values in her life and business. Leah openly shares how she has been working with Weight Loss Solutions Australia and a procedure using an Allurium balloon to support her on her weight loss journey so that she can fully embrace, live and embody the lifestyle and have the sustainable business she is passionately creating for herself and her son. You'll hear how she navigated her mindset after being made redundant during COVID to using a key process to help her pinpoint her next steps to creating her own business and playing the experimentation game to finally building her Mumpire. In 4 years, Leah has built a 6-figure business working with women who are passionate about impacting others through their teachings and knowledge. She is the go-to automation strategist for fine-tuning processes, creating business systems that work, and automating workflows for easier business operations. Or, in short, she's the gal who helps women be more productive in their business, kick goals, and just get shit done. So if you actually came here for specific productivity hacks from the productivity queen herself, you may hear a few, but what you will learn is the importance of embodying your values and what you truly want your life to be like now and not wait for the later. So without further ado, I'm welcoming Leah onto the show, and now let's begin. Hello, Leah. Hello, welcome to Alchemy Mindset. I am beyond excited to have you here on the show. Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here and have a chat about all things everything. Let's be honest. Nothing is off the table.
Yeah, let's just get straight in there and tell us. So what happened? What happened to you during COVID? And where was your mindset in that moment in your life?
So it was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. I'd actually been made redundant 12 months before COVID hit from a company that I thought was going to be my ride or die. That was where I saw my career. It's where I saw my path. I had embodied everything. I was made redundant. I worked in a similar industry for 12 months and then COVID happened and I was again made redundant. And I'd kind of gotten through this area of my life where I had finally realized that I was sick of letting other people dictate what my financial future was going to look like. But for a while there, I was pretty low. I was completely defeated. I was trying to figure out how I was going to make it from one day to the next. I'm a single mum, so my income is the only income. I was trying to be strong and brave and resilient, but I didn't want to do any of that. I didn't. There were some days I didn't want to get out of bed. There were some days that the thought of parenting made me want to pull my hair out and scream. My house was turning into a pigsty. I wasn't eating properly. I was barely communicating with my son. Things were pretty rough for a while there. And I knew I was getting to a point where it was like, this was either going to be it, and this is just how I was going to live my life, or I had to figure out an alternative because I could see where it was heading and I just wasn't happy with that. And I wasn't happy with how that was going to make me feel. And I'd like to say I just woke up one day and was like, my life has changed and everything's better. And I just have this great outlook on life. And it wasn't. It definitely took some time, but I just slowly did things differently that I was doing, what I was doing before when I was in that really low, effortless state. I just did small things to kind of make those changes. But yeah, it was pretty low. It was pretty low.
What kind of things did you do to sort of lift your mindset and your energy from the fact that you were no longer employed and you were in your lowest of low? Like, what kind of things did you do that helped?
Yeah, definitely. So I love learning. I love reading. I love learning new things. I love being taught new things. So I decided to go from being made redundant to doing a fast track diploma of business and just keeping myself super busy and keeping my mind active. And I found that by learning something that I didn't think I was ever going to be able to like put into practice, it gave me an opportunity to almost like not have space for the other bullshit that was happening.
Yeah.
I got back into my love of reading. You can't see, but to the right of me, I have a bookcase that is like completely full with books. Yes, it's color coded.
Love it.
I've got books everywhere. And I realized that there were some things that I just had stopped doing because I just didn't find joy in anything. So I tried to force myself to find joy in those little things again. Reading, learning, the ocean, water is my safe space. It's a place where I can go and feel held and secure. So going down to the ocean, I lived literally like a 2-minute walk to the water. So I would go down there and just float in the ocean and have the sun on my face. And it was just these little things that I was doing that didn't feel big, but made me feel better.
Yeah. And then at what point did you realize, okay, there's something more within me? And like you said, you were sort of done doing things other people's way and being told what to do. Where was it in that moment that you went, maybe I should start my own business? Like, where did that like inkling suddenly just drop in? Not inkling, but like that download or inspiration,
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I had been listening and learning to a few different people online, and one of them was Amy Porterfield. And this was around the time where I was just trying to figure out what was out there. I obviously had plenty of time of my hands, so I was just trying to see what was out there and what I could learn. And one of the things I learned from her was a post-it note party, and I teach this to everybody that I come into contact with. A post-it note party for me is very much a visual and physical representation of what's going on in your head. As someone who is a very high functioning, anxiety ridden human being, there's a lot of voices in my head. There's a lot of things going round and round that can sometimes cloud what I want to do, what I need to do, how I'm feeling, what I need to kind of action, all those bits and pieces. So I was introduced the idea of a post-it note party where you literally put on music that is going to just make you move and sing and dance and just feel great. And then everything pops into your head. You write it down onto a post-it note and you put it on the wall. It's great to have some sort of intention. So my intention for this was to figure out how my 10 years in the travel and the events industry was going to be transitioned into something else, because I knew coming into COVID that industry was going to be dead for a long period of time. And I'd spent 10 years in that industry. So I had to figure out what it is that I could do, what it is that I loved, what it is that I wanted to keep doing, and figure out what that was going to look like in my life. I'm one of those weird people that after working in the industry for so long, I can look at license plate numbers and letters and tell you airport codes and,
wow,
like, which is great when you're in that industry, but when you're not in that industry anymore, it's like completely useless, right? So
yeah.
I just put on some music and I bought all the colorful post-it notes that I could find, and I just started putting down I loved, things that I didn't love, things that brought me joy, what I enjoyed about my job, what I hated, what I wished I could do more of. And then I just let it sit for about 24 hours. I didn't touch it. I didn't move anything. I just let it sit. And then I came back and started grouping things together based on a common denominator, based on what I looked at and made me smile and made me go, yeah, I really did miss that. I really enjoyed that. And I kind of grouped this all together, and then I typed in a few of those words on the internet and typed in, business ideas for this, and virtual assistant just kept popping up and popping up and popping up. So that was it. That was my big revelation. And I honestly cannot thank enough Amy Porterfield and her post-it note party. It definitely changed so much.
Oh my goodness. That is like one of the best ways I've ever heard someone come down to like going, yeah, actually, this is the direction that I need to go on based on things that I really love doing from my previous job or previous work life or what I enjoy doing overall, and kind of narrowing it down to like a little bit of a Google search and seeing what comes up. That's brilliant. I really love that. I'm sure everybody you tell this is just like, that's amazing. I'm going to go get post-it notes right now.
I know. And I do. I tell people to be like, if you're struggling with something like decisions, or if you're struggling to figure out what path you want to go down, or if you're struggling with the advice that somebody has given you, just dance it out, move your body, put it on post-it notes and just throw it up. Like, there's no right or wrong answer.
No.
I mean, I had a backup plan. My backup plan was to go and work in retail if I literally found nothing. But I was so dead set on never having to step back into a shopping center ever again. So it's like, this post-it note party has to work. But there's no right or wrong answer. You just, whatever's in your head, put it on a post-it note, stick to the wall, and then if it sticks, if it doesn't, move on.
Exactly. And is that where the productivity queen?
No, actually, the productivity queen probably came about a good, I'd say, 18 months later. Up until that point, I was a generalized VA because I was like, cool, these are all the things that I love, but I don't know if I love them enough to want to do it forever. So I was like, well, let's just do all the things, figure out what I like, and then go from there. I very much understand needing to niche down, and you can't, if you talk to everyone, you talk to no one. But I struggle with people who feel like they need to find a niche straight away, because I feel like it blocks you from so many other opportunities in your potential business growth, because you're like, no, this is my silo. This is where I work, and that's all I'm going to do. So I did. I spent pretty much a good 18 months doing everything: data entry, social media, building basic websites, answering phones, filling out forms. I worked for so many different industries. I worked for coaches, a mortgage broker, digital agencies. I literally did everything. And I just wanted to do everything. I wanted to see what lit me up. And then that really kind of came down to how the productivity queen was kind of put together, I should say, is I realized I really liked the whole seeing things from above and being strategic and helping women and mums in business to figure out how they could go from where they are to where they wanted to be more strategically, more efficiently, more effectively, so they can build more impact in a short amount of time. Not cutting corners, not, doing things the wrong way, but just doing it in a way that was going to make them feel like they were creating more impact in a way that was best suited for them. So and eventually it just came down to the fact that I really liked telling people what to do and getting paid for it. So it's where the productivity essentially
like telling people what to do and getting paid for it. I love it. That's the best quote ever. I really think you've shared something really important there, and that's for anybody who's listening and you're in that place of like, I do want to start my business, but I don't know what I want to do, or I feel like I need to be in this like avenue of my business world, but I'm or my industry or whatever it is, but I feel like maybe I could be doing something else, or I should be doing more, or do I go even more niched down? Like, I love the fact that you took it in a broad lens first to, again, experience all the different things, knowing what you did like doing from your post-it note party, and then dropping down into experiencing all those things and avenues to then drop it down even further and go, you know what, this is where I really, really get excited. And this is what I really feel like my calling is taking me. Yeah, that's pretty powerful, because I feel that a lot of people and some people or clients that I speak with, they do get caught up with like, oh, do I, don't I, should I, shouldn't I, could I not, all those those questions, and then rather than just doing it, and then knowing that, I think this is one of the biggest things, is that, like you've experienced, trying all the avenues, realizing the ones you don't like, focusing on the ones that you do. It's okay. It's okay to go, all right, well, I tried that area within my industry or my business world and it didn't quite fit right. So I'm just going to swivel it a little bit and go over here. It's not a complete change or, you're pulling things apart. You're just going, all right, well, that wasn't really quite right. So I'm going there. So I myself can reflect on that really easily and say, when I finished my 300 hours of yoga teacher training, and I always had this idea I would be a yoga teacher because I love yoga. I love it. And I was already a sound bath healer. And I had the beautiful idea of just marrying the two up. So I'd do a yoga class and then finish it with a sound bath. There was a beautiful combination. People loved it, but I quickly found out that I hated teaching yoga. Like I felt very mediocre at it. I wasn't honoring the teaching practice enough to be able to be a teacher. Yeah. And I just like doing sound baths. I just like sitting there, playing my bowls, channeling meditations, guiding people through something really relaxing. And that's something I really enjoyed. But I had to go through that moment to understand, well, yeah, actually, the things I thought I would really want to do are actually the things I don't really want to do. And I love yoga for all that it is, but I'm happy just to do it for myself. And that's, and not saying that course, and I'm sure you can relate, nothing that you've done has been a waste. I think that's the other thing we always have to remember, is that nothing we've done is a waste. It's all got meaning and value for us. And that's where our experiences lie.
100%. And I think it's also taught me that I still have that love of learning. Like there's still things that I do today in my business that some people would look in and go, oh, that's not really productivity, or that doesn't really have anything to do with systems and processes. And it's like, sometimes I just like to experiment and have fun. If a client comes up with a project or an idea or something that they want to do, and I see value in that and I see fun in that, yes, it might not necessarily be exactly what I've always done, but what's wrong with just giving it a go? What's wrong with just having fun with it? What's wrong with just experimenting? Because yes, I might get to the end of that project and go, oh my God, I'm so glad we never have to do that again. But then there's some things that I've got, oh my God, I can't wait to do that again with a client. So it's like, even if I found what I love, I'm still okay with being like, yeah, let's just give that a go. Yeah, let's just have fun with it. Like, do we know what we're doing? No. Are we going to have fun with it? Fuck yeah. Like, let's just go with it. Yeah. And I think still having that element of experimentation in your business will allow you to enjoy what you do for a longer period of time.
Absolutely.
As you grow and as you evolve as a human, what you love and what you like and what you cherish is going to change. So just because I'm based on productivity and efficiency and systems and processes now doesn't mean that in the next 5 and 15 years time, that's going to change again. And I'm okay with that because I'm just going to figure it out as I go, and I'm just going to experiment and have fun and continue to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I really, really I really love hearing you say that, because it's that reminder as well that we can have flexibility in our business, because didn't we go into business to do things the way we want to do them? So, you think of like let's say, for example, I'm going to say like bigger corporations, they'll have a team or a department where someone will come up with an idea and they'll be like, okay, let's run with it. Let's see how it works. Let's give that an experiment. Like, don't they do those kind of things? They don't just go, oh no, sorry, this is how we do it. And this is the only way we do it, because companies and business don't evolve unless there's experimentation or play. I mean, gosh, look at any business that's invented something. Let's think of all those big name brands like electronic goods, they just went, oh, sorry, we only do one model of this and this is how we do it. Wow. Gosh, exactly. Would they be still left in the Stone Age? So yeah, I think that's a really great reminder that we can have flexibility and we can have play and experimentation, because it's our business at the end of the day. Like, no one's going to come down on us and say, Anna, that's not in the realm of what you do. It's like, well, actually, you know what? I just wanted to see how that would roll, good, bad, or otherwise. So.
No, I love that. And I think it's true. And I think if you forget that that's what building a business is meant to be like, experimentation and fun and enjoyment, you're going to soon really quickly figure out that what you're doing isn't making you happy. And those are the people that start 50 million things and go all in and never have a true direction of where they want to go and what they want to do, because they just think, yep, no, I've chosen that and that's what I have to do. And I'm going to do this until it fails. And then, oh, yep, that failed. And now I've got to go and do something else. And it's like, but what if you just had fun and experimented along the way and built something that was just unique to you and what you wanted to offer?
Do you think that comes around to people's fear of like failure or being seen as a failure, or people afraid of like success and how and like what success could do for them?
I think it does a little bit, but I think it has more along the lines of not being seen as an expert. And I feel like this has taken over a lot in the online world over the last 4 years, especially since COVID. You don't have to be an expert in everything. You just have to have a willingness to give it a go. And I've always been very open to my clients when they come to me with something new, or if I come up with a new concept. I'm very much like, yeah, look, I don't have all the answers. I don't know the perfect solution, but I'm willing to just give it a go and we can learn. And if you want to do it again, we can have a look at what worked and what didn't work. So I think the biggest thing is that people feel like if they're not an expert straight away, or if they're not an expert enough to feel like they have authority in that space, they're not willing to try. They're not willing to experiment. Where I feel like you just have to give it a go. And if it doesn't work, you just learn from it. So I feel like there's a certain level of fear of failure, but I think it's also this fear of not being seen as an expert. But every expert outside of the online world was never an expert until they learned and they failed and they tried and they learned some more and they experimented even further. So, I think it comes down to what you see value in what you offer and how you can deliver that to your clients, rather than feeling like you need to be the expert or the go-to person in that field.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of the stuff that is being shared these days is from experience, but it's not necessarily having had experience in terms of qualification. I went to uni, I did a business degree, or I went to TAFE, or I did some sort of formal sense of education. A lot of it now is actually from experience and sharing, look, this is how I did it and it worked for me. It could work for you, or I could support you, or I've created something that's really like, let's say I was come down to like making candles or soaps or selling essential oil blends or something like that. You have a passion and an understanding and a love for those things. That's great experience within all that already. You've probably had time to play, experiment, research, choose the ones that you like, how they make you feel.
Yeah.
Isn't that enough experience? And you can be an expert in what it is like. I'm sure if you cornered someone in a dinner party and you said, so you do essential oils, they could probably talk your ear off about essential oils.
Absolutely.
They have an essential oil degree? Maybe not, but they love essential oils.
Yeah.
You immediately see them as being an expert because they can talk all day about essential oils. So yeah. I think like business is a big science experiment, really. Like if we all thought about what science, in high school, it was always like you had a theory or, a thing or topic or whatever it is. And then you had to go away and experiment and see which, I'm probably even going to get this, whether test A or test B came out properly. My mind is going back to Bunsen burners, right?
Yes.
Plugging them in and having the gas. Who's left the gas on in the room? Anyway, but you can remember like science taught us in high school that you have like a hypothesis and then you have the test subjects, you do the experiment and you look at the results to create like your findings. And that's what business is. It's a one big experimental science experience. So
exactly. And I think you also have to remember that to be seen as someone who has a better understanding in a certain field, you only really need to be 1 or 2 steps in front of the people you want to teach. So you learn from the people that are 1 or 2 steps in front of you so that you can then pass on that knowledge to the people that are 1 or 2 steps behind you. And that's it. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be the expert. You just need to know a few more things about that area of interest to you so that you can help teach the people who aren't quite up to where you are.
yeah, absolutely.
That's literally it. I am not coming up with brand new content. People have been talking about productivity and beating procrastination for God knows how many years. I am not creating anything new. I am purely educating the people who don't have the same understanding of me, what I have been taught and what I have learned about how to be more productive, how to create efficiencies, how to have better systems and processes. That's all I'm doing. And the only reason that I don't see myself as an expert is because I don't feel like I need to be an expert. I'm not going to learn everything there is to know about being productive because then I'd be bored. Because then I would be like, well, my love of learning is gone now because I've learned everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
stop thinking you need to be an expert and just go, right, what is it that I know that I can have a conversation about with somebody who probably doesn't know as much, and what could I teach them? And that's it. That's all you need to know. That's it.
Mm.
No more complicated than that.
Yeah, exactly. And you're the step within their business to get them a little bit further than where they are. And you've got this key process that's going to help them. And that's where you fit into their life journey within their business.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so good. So within Productivity Queen now, what is happening for you on this? Like I did a little bit of a stalkio on your I know where this question's going. I'm just going to lead into it. But I've seen that you've really, at this moment in time, stepping into this element of embodying who you want to be as a mum and a woman in business. Let's talk a little bit more about that. What is happening for you there?
Yeah, definitely. So 6 months ago, I decided to take a pretty drastic step. Well, I saw it as a pretty drastic step in starting to love myself again and find out who I am and start doing the things that I love. Because as many mums would know, you tend to lose a bit of who you are when you become a mum. You tend to fall into a different category and you move away from the things that brought you joy. You don't do the things that you love all the time. And it's not because we don't want to, we just don't put ourselves first. And I found that this was really impacting my relationship with my son. I started to become quite resentful at the fact that he was doing all the things that he loved. And I was almost just kind of sitting there in the sidelines, just watching. And then I also noticed it was creating a bit of an impact on my business because I started my business, one, to just make enough money to pay the bills. And then I started, like, it slowly has turned into being able to have the freedom and flexibility to work when I want, how I want, and in and around my son so that we can do more things together. But I wasn't doing that. So then I started to feel quite resentful for my business not allowing me to do that. But I realized that the common denominator in both of those situations was myself. And yeah, it was pretty enlightening. And I realized that similar to the COVID situation, I could continue doing what I was doing and I could be going down a path that was extremely unhealthy for me, or I could make a change. And yeah, so that's what I did. I started work with Weight Loss Solutions Australia and I had the Illyrian balloon procedure done. And it has taught me so much more about myself. It really has.
Wow. So just walk us through that whole entire procedure because I was fascinated when first of all, I want to say like, I'm really so excited and so happy to see that you shared this whole entire procedure on your Instagram, your social media and with your community because embodiment is one of the pillars that I love to focus on within my coaching and within my business because it's that element of like, we're all in the thick of business by doing a lot of the processes and we're, all the other fun things that we love. But as a businesswoman, whether we know we're a mum or we're not a mum or we're, whatever, we still have this idea of I'm in business to work towards something that I want to achieve.
Mhm.
Now, who is that person that's achieving all of that? Are they similar to you right now, or are they drastically different, or is there just a subtle difference? Are they still you, but they're just in this next level? What is it about them that you can draw into right now so you can start bridging that gap of, oh, but that's so far away. It's further than what I could ever imagine. It's a one day thing rather than being right now. And I love the fact that you have sharing with your community that like, I need to change this aspect of myself so I can have a better connection with my son, be more there for him, have all these things available to you for yourself. So you chose to do this weight loss process and it's with a balloon.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean?
So
What does that mean? For those who haven't seen the video, what does this actually mean?
And trigger warning, if you do go and see the video, it's not a simple video. It is quite confronting. So just be prepared of what you're going to see. There's no blood or gore or anything like that. I'll first touch on why I chose this procedure as opposed to a more surgical approach. I have, over my last probably, I'd say 20 to 25 years, I've seen quite a few people who have gone under the knife to get the procedures done for gastric band, gastric bypass, all those bits and pieces. I've seen some great stories and some great outcomes, but I've also seen a lot of negative outcomes, whether it comes to needing multiple surgeries, whether it comes to a very drastic change in lifestyle. And when I say drastic change in lifestyle, like not being able to just enjoy the things that you were hoping you could enjoy. I know that there's a lifestyle change when it comes to having some sort of procedure, but there were certain things that I was just like, I don't want to have to live that way. And I'm also of the understanding that if you don't have to go under the knife, don't. I've had a few emergency procedures over the last 8 or 9 years that I obviously wasn't planning for. And recovery from surgery is not easy. And recovery from surgery as a single mum is not easy. So something that was going to assist me in what I wanted, but not what I see. And I do apologize if I offend anyone by saying this, but not a Band-Aid solution for me. My problem is my relationship with food. And what I've seen with certain people, if they don't address that, it doesn't matter what process or procedure you have, that problem will still occur. And that's what I loved about the Allurium balloon and doing it with Weight Loss Solutions Australia, is that the process of swallowing the tablet, which is very small, think of it probably double the size of, say, like a multivitamin tablet. It's not very big. It is attached to a very long tube, and I have to swallow and swallow and swallow until it gets down into my stomach. And then they fill it via the tube or eyelet that they call it with fluid. So it's about 500 mils of fluid in the balloon, and it stays in your stomach for about 16 weeks. So mine has passed now. People always ask, did you know that it was gone? Like, did you feel it go? And I was like, no, you just poop it out. Like, it's simple as that. Eventually it deflates over time, and then it's gone, and that's it. So the reason I chose that was because that I saw as a tool in the whole process. So that was something that I could assist with managing my food intake, but then work extremely close with the team at Weight Loss Solutions Australia about my psychology around food, the way I saw food, looking at food differently, noticing things in my body that I think I had mistaken as just, oh, this is just what the body's meant to feel like. Whereas having conversations with a psychologist, a dietitian, and a nurse pretty much every other week, I was able to be a little bit more in tune with what my body was feeling, what it needed, what I was giving too much of. And it's made me really understand how little I valued myself and how little I valued my body, because I had gotten to a place where I was just like, doesn't matter what I eat, as long as I eat something so that I can survive, so that I can get up and do my job, so that I can pay for the bills, so that I can give my son what he wanted. That's literally the life that I thought I was going to have. And it was really depressing. And it was really disheartening to think that I'd gone to such effort to go so far out of my comfort zone to build a business that I never thought I was going to be able to do, to then almost resolve myself to the fact that I was just going to be on Groundhog Day, eating, sleeping, pooping, and doing it in a way that wasn't healthy for anybody. So that process over the last 6 months, I am so much more in tune with my body. I listen, I feel, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel right. I probably should go and get that checked. That muscle shouldn't feel like that. I'll go and get that checked. And I invest now more heavily in remedial massage, psychology, and just doing what I know my body needs, because I know it's going to be helpful for me. So it's been a huge, huge transition over the last 6 months. And I have also found out that I have a love for running, which I never thought that I would have, and feels extremely weird to hear those words come out of my mouth. But it is one of those things that my anxiety just completely fades away, because I'm so focused on breathing and stepping in one foot in front of the other. And I say running, it's definitely more of a shuffle. And if anybody has seen any of my videos on Instagram, you will see that it's definitely more of a shuffle. But I love the idea of just concentrating so heavily on putting one foot in front of the other and making sure I'm breathing at the right time that my brain just shuts up and I get to just be outside in the sun, in nature, watching my little sausage dog run around, sniff everything. And that's all I have to concentrate on for half an hour to 45 minutes. That's it. So
amazing.
And that's not something I would have seen myself do 12 months ago. You know?
How incredibly empowering to hear that you realized that there was a change. And like you said, it's not like a Band-Aid solution for you, you saw like perhaps the gastric band or any other procedure as just being a band-aid to the solution, because those kind of procedures, are they permanent? Like there's no,
Yeah, they're
that's
permanent.
done and it's done, isn't
Correct.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I was scared to think that I was going to have to put my whole future in the hands of something that was permanent. I mean, obviously you do have to get it reversed and things like that. But again, that's another surgery. So it
Yeah.
was just like, I wasn't using this as an easy way out, as in like, oh, I just swallow something and then eventually it'll just go. But to me, it was just another tool in the tool belt. And I didn't see like, it was almost like I get to see a psychologist, I get to talk to a dietitian, I get to check in with a nurse. Oh, and I also have this balloon that's going to help. Like it wasn't the starting conversation around why I wanted to do it. It just so happened to be, it was another thing in the tool belt that was going to help me. So that's what I've loved more about finding this program has worked so well for me, is that I haven't always said to myself, well, the balloon will fix everything. The balloon will make it better. No, the balloon is there to help, but I need to put in the effort to see food differently, to think about myself differently.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think about myself in ways that I didn't think was possible. And I have more energy and I feel excited to do things. And I just all around feel like where I see myself in the next, 5 years is so different to where I thought I was going to be. So,
I love that. You were saying there that it's like a tool, like it wasn't the whole reason you went there. You knew that this was going to help you in the step, and you were empowering yourself. You're empowering yourself to go, all right, I need to make the change, and this is going to help me that one step closer to making the change, because it also allows me to have contact with a psychologist and a dietitian and a nurse, so I can understand what is going on. Like basically your psychology around food is exactly what you said, why it is that you have this relationship with food, so that once this balloon has passed, you're still not like needing to find the next crutch to support you. It's like you're in that
100%.
place of like, well, I've shifted and I've changed and I have a better understanding about myself and I'm ready to move forwards in other ways.
Yeah, totally. And I think that has been such a huge revelation for a lot of the people that I talk to who have questions about what I did. And I put it online because I'm like, this is just who I am. I'm very open about this journey and I'm open about what it looks like. Has it been perfect sailing? No. Do I still have work to do? Yes. But I feel like I'm now in a position where I feel more empowered to make certain decisions for me, for my body. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned so much about this journey is that there's no guilt. There's no feeling of shame. There's no feeling of, oh, well, I didn't get this exact weight loss, so this failed, because I never saw it as a weight loss journey as such. I saw it as a journey to find who I am again and learn more about what my body needs. And on that journey, obviously, becomes the weight loss and you release and you get to become a different person. But if I hadn't have had the tools and the help from the balloon and from Weight Loss Solutions Australia, I wouldn't have found out things about myself that I love. I wouldn't have put myself in positions or thought about myself in certain ways because I didn't think that I was worthy of that. Whereas now I'm like, no, I love this and this is what I do. And I'm going to eat that because it makes me feel good. And I'm not going to feel guilty and I'm still going to have that. And I'm going to enjoy doing things over there. And I'm going to learn to start running and because it feels good. Am I perfect at it? No. Do I look awful? Yes, but I don't care. I put my true crime podcast in and I run around a park and I just enjoy life. And I think that's, to me, has been the biggest transformation throughout this whole journey. And that I think is more important to me than the weight loss. The weight loss will come because I'm starting to learn and release more about myself than I was before. But I think finding out who I am, listening to my body, understanding what my body needs. And if one day it needs more food than the other, then that's it. I'm a woman. I go through hormones. I eat the way that I need to eat because that's what my body needs. And I feel it the way that I want to feel it because it just makes me feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you now know like the way to feed your body and now like how to be mindful of all those things because you've given yourself education. And I really like hearing you say that this is still a journey. Like this wasn't for me to just have a crash diet and lose like a bajillion kilos all in one go so I can look like the next little supermodel or whatever, have that idea of who I think I should be, because in the process, it sounds like it's a lot about you not only undoing maybe bad habits or mindset around food or your psychology around food, but creating and building other ones. And that all takes time and process, doesn't it? So
definitely. And like, I've done the whole crash diet. When I was a young teenager, I lost 30 kilos in 3 months, and it was awful. And it put my body through things that shouldn't have been put through. And it taught me so many negative things that I related around food and my body and the way that I saw myself. And now for me, like you said, it's definitely a journey. I'm always consistently learning things about me, and I'm always consistently learning things about my body. And it's changing the way I think about myself. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm still a human being. I still have bad days when the thoughts are pretty shitty and, I want to sit down and eat a whole bag of chocolate or a whole big packet of chips. But I kind of go, well, I'm just learning. Like, I'm still figuring out, okay, well, what can I do differently so that I don't do that? Changing my mindset around why I feel like I need to always consistently go back to those habits, when I know that if I continue to learn and I continue to listen to my body, my mindset will then eventually shift to going, well, no, this is what you can do, and it still makes you feel good. So
that's such a great message that you've shared there. What I want to ask you here is, do you feel like you would have come around to the same realizations about yourself back when you had that sudden realization of, I'm actually resentful of my son getting to do whatever he wants and enjoying it, and I'm just on this treadmill and I don't feel like I'm getting to enjoy things that I enjoy or hoped our life would be like together because of this situation that I'm in or I've created without realizing, etc. Do you think you still would have come to the same conclusion had you not been working for yourself?
No, because when I wasn't working for myself, family wasn't a value. And people talk about, find out what your values are. They are really important. When I first started in business, I was like, what a crock of shit. Like, I know value. It's
values,
totally
whatever. Just tell me how. I just want to focus on my game plan. Like,
exactly.
Tell me the next reel on social media. Value.
100%. And it wasn't until and it was probably a good, I'm going to say 9 or 12 months into business before I actually sat down and figured out what my values were. And I was still very caught up in the whole corporate thinking, and this is what you have to do, and this is what it is. And I put such an emphasis on building my career and trying to give my son everything that he could ever want, need, deserve, which is not I don't think that that's a wrong thing, but I was doing it for the wrong reasons. So I have, for a very long time, up until probably about 12 to 18 months, didn't value family anywhere near where I thought I did. So my biggest value for such a long period of time was money, hard work, and then family. But I kind of always said to myself, well, because I value how much I earn and the hard work I put in to earn that really good money, I still value family just as much because that's what I'm doing it for. And then I soon realized that that was just such bullshit. When I was working for somebody else, I would work from 7 o'clock in the morning until 6 or 7 o'clock at night. My son was always up until he started school, and even probably up until, I'd say, grade 3, he was the first kid at before school care or at daycare, and he was the last kid to get picked up every day. Every day, every vacation care, he was booked in, and he would be the first kid there and the last kid picked up, because my biggest value was money and my second biggest value was hard work. And as a single mum, my value as an employee was based on how hard I worked, regardless of my home life. So I had to work, and a lot of women and mums in business hear this, and mums in corporate careers, we have to work like we have no kids. And that's what I was working to prove my value as an employee, because I valued what my employer thought about me more than what my son saw me as. And it wasn't until I started my business and I slowly got out of that corporate mentality that I was like, if I could earn enough to just pay all the bills and still enjoy hanging out with my son, that's all I need. That's it. Took me a long time to realize that that was the value I needed to place more emphasis on than the value of feeling like I needed to get that external validation from an employee. So do I feel like I could have come to the same realization? No, I don't, because it wouldn't have been a value of mine. It wouldn't have been high enough on the pecking order for me to make it a priority. Because if me earning the money and doing the hard work was at the detriment of my relationship with my family and with my son and the relationship with my own body, I would have done it to prove that I valued money and that I valued my hard work.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I often feel like that businesses sometimes, like for people who go into business for themselves, it is that catalyst for that inner development work and that self-realization on lots of things within their life that have that ripple out effect into other avenues of their life. Like the work that you do on yourself, from what I see with the mindset coaching, is often we're unraveling things that are not actually business related at all. It's actually stuff that's
hello trauma
everywhere else in our life. And that once we do unravel that, how much it has an effect in other areas of our life that we didn't think it would in the first place.
Yeah. And I have always been an advocate for seeing a therapist and a psychologist. And I've done therapy since God, probably from the moment I could walk. But I don't think I've learned more about myself in the last, 4 years in August. I haven't learned more about myself in the last 4 years than I have in the entire probably 20 years prior that I've been in therapy. This shit is enlightening as hell. You learn so much about yourself. You will discover things that you never thought that you were possible, could do. It's honestly I sit back and I think about the conversations I now have with people, the way I show up, the way I talk, the way that I am so enthusiastic about some of the things that I say and the things that I do. And I just think there's no way in hell I could have done that back in the corporate world. And it's so freeing. It's so freeing. It's scary because you're like, damn, this is who I actually am. And I don't have to put on the special suit or put on the specific shoes or wear the right makeup. I just get to rock up and do the shit I love. And I just get to be happy about it.
I love it because I see that within your Instagram, and there's a couple of reels that really speak to me that I go, fuck yeah, this woman's rocking it. And it's the one where you're wearing your denim jacket and then your two-piece outfit. So you've got your bikini top on or whatever and this really nice flowing pants. And you're just rocking your body and you're rocking your best life. And the energy that you emanate out of those two little, 90-second or 30-second clips or whatever it is just amazing. It's so magnetic. It's like, I don't care what anybody thinks because I'm running my empire and I love my life and I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for my family and this is what I love to do. And you're like, wow, I really, really loved seeing those videos because I think it really showcases who you are. And you're like, I don't give a shit what you think of me. I only care about me and this is how I love myself. And I really felt like that was those ones really captured my attention because I saw that energy within you and I saw what you were embodying and who you were as this really magnetic, amazing woman in business and a mum. Yeah, it's the great video clips. I'm like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you do. And you're great. I love that color run. I really liked it. Yeah.
But and this is something that I try to talk to my clients about as well. It's you create a business and whether you're a product-based business or a service-based business, you are still at some point the face, the voice, someone that they relate to that particular business and just have fun with it. You're not ticking off somebody else's performance review. You're not ticking off somebody else's, to-do list or whatever. You just get to have fun, be yourself. And if people don't like it, that's okay. There's 7 billion people in the world. You'll find the right one and they will hang around.
Yeah.
And if the people that don't like it decide to leave, don't let the door hit you on the way out because I was never going to change.
Oh, I love that.
I was never going to change. I'm not going to go, no, don't leave. I want you to be here. Okay, bye. Come back when you realize that this is exactly what fun looks like. I'll be waiting.
I'll be still moving on with my fun world, actually.
100%.
You'll have to chase after me.
Yeah.
Fun in my world is a fast-moving machine and it's not waiting around for anybody.
Damn straight.
Yeah. Oh, Leah, you've shared some amazing, wisdom, gold nuggets of, insight within this conversation. And I'm just so grateful that you came on the show today to share all of that. I would love to ask you one last question before we find out where we can find you and all the amazing things that you offer to this brilliant world of entrepreneurship. If you had a client walk through your doors today and just say, all right, I'm about to start my business, or I'm in the early stages of my business, what piece of advice would you give them within that moment? What do you think?
Have a post-it note party. 100%. Have a post-it note party. I'm not going to steal it and say that was my idea. No way. I will never steal it. It's 100% Amy Porterfield. But I would tell anybody who is thinking about starting or stuck at a crossroads, or they've been told they need a niche, or they're not really sure which direction to take their business in, just have fun. And the easiest way to have fun is to dance and move your body and just get it all out of your head, because we get so stuck in our heads 24/7 as women, especially as mums, that you just need to stop and have fun with it. So have a post-it note party. Stop putting so much pressure on needing to get it right, and put more emphasis into just experimenting and having fun, because there's no right or wrong answer.
I love it. Amazing. That's brilliant. Post-it note party. Let's go back full circle in this episode. Everybody go out and buy some Post-its, get some colored Post-its, favorite marker, and just start decorating those walls with all those ideas and inspirations and things. I think I was sitting here before going, yeah, I could definitely use a Post-it note party around something I'm sort of sitting on for a moment. So I think I've just found my solution. Leah, share with us, where can we find you and all that beautiful gold wisdom that you continue to share and shine?
Amazing. So everyone can find me on Instagram at the.productivityqueen. I do have a website. It is a work in progress, so no judgment, but it is something that I'm working on. But if anybody just wants to have a conversation about why things seem hard, or why they can't seem to get things done, or why the list seems to grow and they're not really sure what's on it anymore or why it needs to happen, my DMs are always open. So slide on in, shoot me a message. I love talking to especially mums in business about just being able to prioritize the shit that needs to get done, as opposed to the stuff they think needs to get done. We have so many things that go on in our world outside of business that need to get done, that sometimes we get caught up in what we think needs to happen for our business. Whereas sometimes you just need someone like me who can come in and have a frank conversation, kick your ass and go, right, just sit down, shut up. This is what's going to happen. So
yeah,
it's me.
Great. Love it. By the way, you also have a podcast.
I do have a podcast. I actually had the beautiful Anna herself on my podcast. So the Building a Mumpire podcast is out there for you to come and have a listen. I talk to amazing mums in business on their journey into building a mumpire, and how they have discovered more about who they are, what they love, what they do, and the legacy that they want to create for themselves and for their children. So yeah, if you want to go and listen to that, you can listen to wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Amazing. I love it. I love your show. It's really good. I've got several episodes already bookmarked. So thank you so much, Leah, for coming on the show. I've had a wonderful conversation with you and I've really enjoyed this. So thank you so much. And again, everybody check out Leah's socials, send her a hi, send her a hello, and thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Please rate and review this podcast so that it can continue to thrive and reach more listeners. I love to know who my listeners are, so please screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Anna F. Hasty. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.